Today, we are diving deep into all of this with two pioneers from the local solar space, who is Jin Yi from Interline and Ian from Solara
Yeah.
X. And also to round our conversation, we are also joined by Rebecca from our Baiduri Home Loan Center. She will also shed light on how Baiduri Bank as a financial partner can lend a hand in making the switch to solar more accessible for homeowners. Let's start by setting the scene with some intro questions. Why actually are we suddenly seeing more solar panels popping up around Brunei? What's changed?
There's a couple of things that are driving it. One is the technology. So solar panels are semiconductors, and semiconductors work in the same field as microchips that you use in your computer. So it's developing at a very fast rate. So the quality, the efficiency of solar panels have been increasing at a very, very fast pace. And there's a lot of money being invested into solar panels. So the reason why we're seeing more solar panels now is the costs have come down tremendously. Also because they're being mass produced as well.
And more affordable now.
Therefore, they are becoming more affordable. The second thing is that people are becoming more aware, finding out more information about the products and understanding the product.
So do you see any patterns nowadays? Are you seeing interest from maybe like more young families, retirees, people building new homes? Who's actually making the switch? Maybe Ian have some insights?
Yeah, sure. I think the younger generation, or my generation per se, I think we have access to internet now. A lot of the neighboring countries are switching over because of, the cost of electricity is expensive and things like that. And I concur with Jane. The cost of solar has already dropped 70%. So I think people are more smarter. Information are out there. When people talk about sustainability, it's just not recycling. In Brunei, we went through a phase where no plastic, and then suddenly we also had this Earth Day where we practice every single year, and then now solar is being part of it. Yeah, I think the trend is slowly growing as well.
My first big question is, yes, obviously Brunei is very hot. We can all attest to that,
Yes,
right?
very panas.
But is it hot enough or panas enough to power actual homes?
Yes, I think we all know since primary that Brunei sits near to the equator, which is very, very hot. We typically get about 4.5 to 5 hours of peak sun per day. It's one of the best location in actually Brunei to house solar at your homes. The solar does help to insulate your homes once you install it on your roof, so the heat won't go directly on your roof and you just reflects back the heat and generates.
So it actually makes your home cooler.
Technically, yes.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. But how actually does it work? Like, okay, you absorb the sunlight, right, from the solar panels, and then what happens? How does it turn into electricity?
Okay, if we just keep it at a simple level, within a closed system, energy does not get created nor destroyed. It just changes from one form to another. So that's the first thing to think about. So within a solar panel, there are semiconductors within it. So when light shines on it, it moves the electrons within the panel and it creates the electricity. It creates a potential difference and moves the electrons within it. So that converts it to electricity.
I don't think I understand much from there. So basically, when the sun hits the solar panels, does it go through any equipment or battery? Does it charge a battery that will power the home? Is that what you mean?
Yes. I think what she's talking about is, I think when raw power DC, raw power hits from the solar, you get DC. We call it DC. And the DCs enter a component called inverter. So this inverter converts from DC to AC. So from non-usable electrical current to usable electrical current for your home. So we call this thing little engine or little converter called inverter. And there's two types of inverter. One is the on-grid inverter and the other one is a hybrid inverter. So I hope that
Yes.
helps you understand.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. So there's actually two components. So when you want to install solar, then it'll be the panel and
Yes.
there will need to be an inverter.
Yes.
So that you can use it as power for your home.
Yes.
Ah, okay. So let's say somebody's interested and wants to explore solar for their home. Where do they even begin? Like, is there an assessment? Do you look at the roof direction? Like, maybe just walk us through what assessment is done.
Usually, panels are mounted on the roof. So the first thing to do is to do a structural assessment
Right.
to make sure that the roof can take the load of the solar panels. So that's the first thing. Once that has been dealt with, then the next thing to look at is the potential of the area in order to capture the sunlight.
Right.
So typically we look at trees that can cause shading onto the roof or adjacent tall buildings. And once we have established that, we can calculate how much energy these solar panels can generate. So that's the first assessment. The second one is then to compare how much energy you're using in the home. So if you're a high energy user, then you need more solar panels. And we will typically try and match the solar power to your home energy needs.
But does that mean like at night you won't have any power, only during the day?
That's correct. The solar energy or the electricity can only be generated when there's light.
I see.
It doesn't have to be bright sunshine. As long as there's light, even on cloudy days or rainy days, it will still generate electricity.
I see. Unless you maybe have somewhere to store the power that you collected during the day.
Either that or with the net metering, what you can do is the excess energy that you generate during the day, that gets exported into the grid. And then in the evening, when you don't have any energy being generated, you can then use that energy back from the grid.
I see. That's very interesting. I suppose one big question that fills a lot of people with dread and anxiety is the maintenance on solar panels. Maybe you want to talk about how SolarX or Interline as a company who installs these solar panels will sort of support customers. Because, like if you have electricity problems, you probably can just call 123. But what happens if my solar panels are not working or you need some support?
So I think for SolarX, we are currently building our very own service center with also a 24/7 operation team if anything happens. And also, I think because of the advancement of the technology, we now receive real-time alerts. So if our customers, typically these alerts usually happen during the day, very little to not much during the night because you literally don't generate any electricity, right? So typically on our side, we call it a Solara Care Plan. What we'll do is we will let the owner decide on a subscription base. The reason why it's so that they can shorten their ROI, so they don't have to spend more. Because when as a customer on board Solar, they already spent X amount of upfront, which is very expensive. On top of the maintenance, because the panels actually have warranty. For example, like the brands that we carry has about 15 years of warranty. Inverters about 10 years of warranty. It's longer than a car warranty. On top of that, Brunei has a very high rainfall, and we typically don't really need to clean the panels. Through the app, you can actually monitor your panel performance. So if there's a drop, then you can call us, simply just our hotline, and we'll just drive a drone there and just clean it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
you don't
see.
actually need to have somebody climbing up anymore. We have a drone that is able to clean the solar panels and able to even wash dust and things like that.
Okay.
Surprisingly or not surprisingly, solar panels have very, very little or low maintenance.
Ah,
And the reason for that is there are actually no moving parts.
right.
So compared to something like air conditioning, where you have a
Motors,
compressor,
yeah.
mechanical parts, moving parts, solar panels don't have any moving parts. But what's important is because there's wiring exposed to the elements, it's important that we use good quality materials, that they don't degrade with sunlight and heat.
Do you need to do any servicing on those parts or?
What we would recommend is once a year that the panels are cleaned,
Right.
just to remove any dust or any debris that may have fallen onto the solar panels. It doesn't need a very, very thorough clean as long as the dust and the debris is cleaned off. And just an inspection on the connections on the cables to make sure everything is still secure and tight.
Okay, so interesting. About real life adoption in Brunei is something a lot of people wonder. What are Bruneians actually hooking up to solar at home? Like, is anyone going like 100% of the house powered by solar, or is it more like powering certain appliances or certain sections of the home only?
Shall I answer that?
Yeah, sure. Since you're on the roll.
The solar panels, once it's connected, is linked in parallel to your electricity supply. So some people do ask, oh, if I install solar, will I have enough power to run all my appliances in the house? And the answer is yes, because you're also using the DOV's electricity supply.
Yeah.
Right.
Interestingly, this little thing that we call inverter, so once it's installed, actually it manages the load of your house. For example, it decides when to bring in government electricity, when it uses sunlight, raw power to power up your house. So this little thing we call inverter is the one that playing much of bigger role in your house.
I see. You know, we see people on TV surviving zombie apocalypse on solar. That could potentially happen in real life as well.
I believe so one day.
Yeah.
I believe so one day.
Hopefully no zombie apocalypse lah. Ha.
But if the inverter spoils, then the cost to replace is very high.
Actually, inverters cost, as I mentioned before, right? Like compared to the costs 5-6 years ago, components are now going a lot more cheaper, and they're mass produced, right? So basically, they are much more. I wouldn't say cheap, but more affordable at, let's say, at the cost of an iPhone. I mean, people nowadays change iPhone every year.
Right.
Probably the inverter you need to change every 6-8 years because it's a wear and tear product. So yeah, very similar to your tires and things like that. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Would you guys be able to share any success stories or examples where solar made maybe meaningful difference for a household?
I have couples of owners. They typically have a monthly electricity bill of $700, and upon installing solar, and they said, let's try first. And then when we installed the solar, they saw a significant 30% cut.
Oh.
And they was like, hey, they came back to me and said, can my roof fit extra more panels and things like that. So I think we've gotten a few feedbacks from our clients that they actually saw a significant save in their bills.
The savings are definitely there, although because of our subsidized electricity rates, it can take a little bit longer compared to countries like Singapore or Malaysia, for example. But over the long run, they're still cheaper than using government electricity
Like 100%. Yes.
for certain users.
To install the solar panels, is there any like government approvals, regulations, or expectations? Maybe you want to run through them?
I think if you're going off-grid, you not necessarily need to apply. I think the most secure way is to ensure that your house is able to carry the panel load. Because panels are very heavy. Each panel is about 20-30 kilos. I think if you are using net metering, which is going to launch soon in Brunei, that required a few approvals like ABCI to ensure that you actually engage a consultant to look at your structure, electrical M&E consultant to look at your house power setup and make sure that it's not overload or underload, because all these factors could drive your panel either used efficiently or not efficiently. Yes. On top of that, net metering allows, so basically anything injecting into the government, any inputting back to the government grid, you need to apply for, we call it net metering basically, so that they can keep track, those excess energy that you generate.
So those that requires collaboration, then yes. But otherwise, if you're just going off grid,
Grid, yes.
then
You
no
don't-
need lah.
that don't need.
Okay, so far we've spoken about if we have a new building, right? Like what if it's like, my old perumahan house and I just want to put solar panels to sort of enhance my electricity, then what would you recommend? Like, is that something possible?
I think it's a part of a process. Installing solar, we want to make sure our customers' home are always safe when they install. So there's always a process where, in the package or in the service we provide, there's always consultant that will come and have a look at your structure, and they will calculate everything for you before we even install.
Yeah.
So and then let's say if the consultant says, oh, you can put maybe 10 panels only. If you want to put more, you need structural, what call that?
Reinforcement.
Yeah, reinforcement. So you need to strengthening your roof again. But so far, I think Brunei houses are pretty standard. I remember recalling ABCI was sharing like they have a standard of that we follow UK standard where every roof have a certain weight limit that they carry. So I think majority home in Brunei may probably have able to support X amount of panels.
Yeah.
Not a lot lah, but yeah.
And then if it's not on the roof, is it possible to be on the ground? Because
yeah.
I've seen,
Ground, you can be a garage, your car Porsche, and all these things is possible too.
Yeah.
As long as there's no tall building around you. And I mean, I'm glad that like Brunei, our neighbors are not having like, sky rocketing apartments and all these things. And our houses are mostly not taller than the mosque. And putting on garage, it's also reasonable, I would say.
For customers actually who are worried about the quality of the installation, I think one thing to add is it's being endorsed by the building industry. So ABCI, for example, will need to make sure that the endorsements provided by the structural engineers are met. So that's the first one. And then the second one is the electrical installation is also endorsed by the electrical consultant.
Right.
So these two things ensure that once the panels have been installed, they're tested and commissioned, and that has also that needs to be endorsed by the what we call the qualified person.
Right.
So that's one, just to reassure customers who are looking to install solar panels.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we are also seeing a lot of literature saying solar actually, installation of solar panels actually add value to a property. Is that correct?
I would say it definitely attracts people to purchase that property, because if you think about long term, there's a lot of savings in electricity, and also in this current environment, we are also looking to be more sustainable.
Right.
Right, and then to be more green to the environment. So I think this is a really great first step towards for house owners to have solar.
Speaking about cost, actually we've been talking about cost dari tadi, right? But actually we've never really spoken about the actual dollar amount. And yes, a lot of people saying upfront costs are prohibitive. Is that true? What's a typical installation cost for a typical, 2-bedroom house?
I think it depends on, I think first of all, we want to look at how much the customer want to save. How much do they use during the day and during the night time? That's where we start calculating. A typical cost maybe will start maybe $16,000, inclusive with all the consultants and all these things. Of course, we've as a company, we always try our best to help customers to, when they ease in solar, we will try to bring down the price as much as we can. For example, working with Baiduri, we want to, form a partnership where as they can take a personal loan or a home renovation loan, so that they can sort of like have a long-term, small monthly installments, and yet they save from electricity at X amount.
Like right now, we're actually partnering with Interline and Solara, right? To offer
Correct.
the first solar financing for homeowners.
That's
What
right.
makes it different than just a normal personal loan?
It's very affordable in terms of financing. So currently, Baiduri, we're having a house promo with solar panels. So what we do is that we incorporate 5% of the open market value of a property into their loan. So our interest rate is as low as 4%. So it is actually very affordable for first-time owners if they want to incorporate solar into their house. For example, like a 200K house. Okay, so if we incorporate 5% into the loan, you're looking at 10K already. So I'm sure house owners, right, most of the time they do take slightly more than 200, so they'll go like 300, more or less. That is the price range that we're looking at. So this sort of helps them to afford. We try to make it more affordable for our customers to install, and the repayment is actually quite reasonable because it's incorporated into your loan. And since a typical customer takes their loan for like 20 years, 15 years, or even 25 years, so the repayment is already in. And if your salary is assigned to us, then just all you do is just sit back and let the loan deduct, and you can enjoy all your enjoy the solar facilities that comes with the house.
Okay.
So the myth, right, like during the day, usually not much people at home, right? Let's say you go to work, if you have kids, they're all in school, that's when you use less. That's where your credit builds up. Yeah, during the night time, or by the end of your month, there's a prorate bill from government, kan? So they prorate whatever you generate and just deduct your usage and give you a final bill. So if let's say you were on solar and you want to turn 24 aircon on, it's technically free. Yes, but depending on how big your capacity is. For example, if your whole house capacity during the day is 100 kilowatt, let's say 50 kilowatt, actually not that much, maybe 10 kilowatt, with 5 aircon on 24 hour. But if your panel is 5 kilowatt, meaning to say you're using 5 from government, 5 from solar. So, but if let's say your house uses 10 kilowatt and you're producing 12 kilowatt, then you're using 10 direct, the extra 2 kilowatt will go back to government as a credit. Yeah, you actually can on. So the customer that I mentioned earlier on, during the day he's full on aircon one. So just during the day he already minus $200 because the aircons are like 5 horsepower, 10 horsepower, that kind of aircon now.
Mine is 1.5, 2.
Actually 1.5 actually
Use a lot.
a lot. Aircon is very controversial. I did a properly study, like if your house is proper insulated, your aircon shouldn't run 24 hours.
Yeah.
1.5 horsepower inverter is different from a 1.5
Yeah.
horsepower non-inverter.
My house uses inverter.
So
My room, because my son still sleep with us, right? So because he's like a small kid and his body heat up very fast, we open 2 aircon. But it's inverter.
yeah.
And my monthly bill is only like $60 a month.
I see.
Yeah.
So if you combine using renewable energies like solar with home efficiency, like using more efficient electrical appliances,
Yeah.
inverters for your aircon, for your
Fridge.
refrigerator, low energy lighting, everything. So you're reducing your energy usage and you're increasing your renewable production. So you will find a balance in between.
A question that I'd like to ask as well is, what are people usually confused about when you talk to macam homeowners in Brunei? Macam, they always have like these misunderstandings about solar power.
I think for us, one of the common question is, kalau hujan, bekaran kah? Of course, yes. The solar generally generate electricity to sunlight. So even if it's raining and cloudy, you still generate electricity. But let's say you'll probably generate maybe 30% of your full capacity, for example.
Have they ever said something like, will the lightning strike the solar panel?
Yeah, like if the lightning strikes and then you reanimate Frankenstein.
So that's where that's a very good question. So that's where the M&E consultant comes in. They will make sure you have a proper lightning structure that, let's say if a lightning were to come to the panel, and as long as the panel is grounded to the ground, you're fine. Yeah, so those are the roles of these consultants to ensure your installations are properly
Right.
done and it won't cause any harm to your home.
And there are electrical devices that can help with it, surge protection devices, circuit breakers that will trip and protect your equipment from the lightning strike.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. For someone nervous about, the upfront cost, can they start small?
Yes, I think. Sorry.
Go on.
Sorry. Most of my customers is like, can I put a deposit down first? I'm like, sure. We are more than happy to help you. Start with a deposit, and then once the material arrives, and then you can put another X amount of percentage. But we always ensure our customers that why not you just take a loan or a financing. That would probably be a lot more easier for you, because if we stretch 14,000, 15,000 to 7 years, for example, like a car loan, actually your interest rate is not that much. And what I like about the financing here is that we are EIR based. So basically it's effective interest rate. So you are paying the principal first, then interest rate later on. So I think that's what we always tell our customers, like, oh, the banks here do offer good interest rates.
Yeah, so I want to add on to that actually. So like Moreno was talking about, what about our existing customer who like your perumahan, for example, right? So let's say if Mao wants to have solar installed, Mao can actually take like a renovation loan, which we currently have a promo of 6%, by the way. So they can actually install the solar using these loans. Is specially tailored for them to do some renovation works for existing buildings, houses basically.
So most customers that express interest in solar panels, do they have existing homes, or are they people who are building a new home?
I think it's a mixture.
Oh,
Yeah.
but you would recommend it to someone who
If I have a friend who's building a house, support.
Okay, call him. Yeah.
Then after that, call me.
Yeah.
I think what really needs to happen is we need to start seeing more solar panels installed, and then with the Brunei community being so small as it is, word will spread very fast. And once there are enough examples of people using solar panels with ease and with comfort and the security that it's working properly and well in this environment, then it will spread very, very quickly.
Okay. Any last words from all of you?
I think for me, we are always here to assist. Whether if you need any questions, you have any questions, or you need any myth to be debunked, we are here for you. We are always available anytime. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
If you're unsure, please contact us and we will carry out an assessment first. And that's without any charge to the customer, to yourselves. And we'll do a very detailed calculation, and we'll give you specific numbers about how much it will cost for the installation, and then you can then speak to the banks about the loan and the repayments. And then we'll also tell you how much money you will save in the long run.
As always, if anyone wants to know how to finance, want us to do any calculation for you based on your salary and so on, just feel free to come by and let us know. We'll be happy to help.
Thank you, gentlemen and lady. A huge thank you to all of you for making this like solar world less confusing. Because I do really feel like I just completed Solar 101.
Yeah, same.
So if you're curious to dip your toes into solar, whether it's a few panels or entire system, chat with Interline or Solara X to see what's possible for your home. And of course, Baiduri Bank is here to lend a hand and with financing options that make the switch a whole lot easier. Thank you for tuning in to the Baiduri Podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And until next time, may your house always be bright, preferably powered by the sun.